Hello, and welcome to the video on adding and subtracting fractions. This is a continuation off of the beginning of the week when we were talking about adding and subtracting just fractions, and now we're moving on to mixed numbers. So our objective for this video in the next couple of stations is that the student will be able to add and subtract fractions and mixed numbers in real-world situations. Although this is already included on your checklist, it would be very beneficial for you to write this down in your notes. A reminder, students, as you are continuing through this video, you need to take notes and keep them inside of your binder in our notes section. Let's go ahead and just start out with an example from the type of problems we were working on earlier prior to this video. So the first example we have here is 1/8 plus 3/8. As you're pausing the video, consider some of the things that we think that are important for adding fractions. Alright, hopefully you've rejoined us with a proper answer. Some of the key notes are we want to make sure the denominators, that's a vocabulary word guys, are the same. And in this case the denominator is 8, both situations, because they are the same. We're going to go ahead and add across. So in this particular situation we have 1 plus 3 over 8, which would give us a total of 4/8. Is it possible if we can simplify this equation? Yes, both numbers are divisible by 4, so if we simplify, I'm sorry guys, I guess I didn't include that extra part. If we simplify, it would simplify to 1/2. And if you'll notice here in light colors, there are some addresses. You are not probably going to be able to click them, but what you could do is write them down. These are some games that you guys can play at home to help you practice the fractions. So as we continue, what happens when we have different denominators? Because we've already talked about this, you should be familiar, but we're going to go ahead and go through it a couple of times. So in this particular example, we have 7/8 minus 1/2. If you'd like to pause to see if you can do this without the notes, please feel free to do so. So first, we must find the least common denominator for both of the fractions, and in this case, what is the least common denominator out of 8 and 2? What number is divisible by both of our denominators? Hopefully you came up with 8, and we are going to use that to help us write an equivalent fraction. So the equivalent fraction is one that is the same, just using a different denominator. Equivalent fractions is also a vocabulary word you should have already defined. So looking at the first fraction, we have 7/8, and we want to set that equal to something over 8. Well, luckily for us, it's already in the right form, so it would be 7/8. When we are looking at our second fraction, it is 1/2, and we want to set that equal to 8. So we have to figure out what did we multiply 2 by to get to 8. In this particular situation, it was 4. So 2 times 4 gave us 8, and we must do the same thing on the top. So we're going to do 1 times 4, and that will give us 4/8. Now that we have these equivalent fractions, we have 7/8 minus 4/8, we can use the same idea that we did at the beginning of this video and subtract straight across. So we have 7 minus 4. Hopefully, you guys got the correct answer. The correct answer is 3/8. So let's summarize again what is important for adding and subtraction fractions, and these are some step-by-steps you guys have had before. Now we're just going to add a little bit in here because we're going to change mixed numbers. So the only step that's any different than previously is step 3. So first, we want to find the least common denominator. Yet again, this is an important vocabulary word. Second, we want to find equivalent fractions. Third, we want to start by adding or subtracting the fractions, which is what we have been doing. And then what we want to do to continue this step is add or subtract the whole numbers. That's the only thing different. As always, guys, it is super important that you simplify. So number 4 is write your answer in the lowest terms. Alright, let's get straight to it. So I've noticed as we go through this video, the pop-ups that have the actual answer are not popping up. It is going to be very important that you guys are using your ears to listen to this. When we've talked about active listening, this is one of those situations. So we have 1 5/7 minus 4/7. Looking back at your steps, we want to check and see what we have to do first. First, we should find the least common denominator. Luckily for us, it's already in that form. So we want to go ahead and start by subtracting. So we will have 5 minus 4. We're subtracting fractions first. So 5 minus 4 is 1. And then we will keep the denominator. So we have 1/7. And when we subtract our whole numbers, 1 minus 0 is still 1. So the proper answer right here, guys, should be 1 1/7. If you'll go ahead and pause the video, take the time to finish these problems. I will have the answers for you at my desk, so please feel free to come check with me when you have finished, and we'll talk about any kind of misunderstandings that you have had. Feel free to communicate with your group. Remember, guys, your steps are the most important. So take the time to engage yourself in this activity and prepare yourself for the following stations. Thank you.